Hello and welcome to Hobby Vlog number 160. That feels like a bit of a milestone for some reason, 160, and I'm pretty pleased that I've managed to keep it going. This week, keeping it going has been kind of the theme. I've been still struggling up and down a little bit with motivation and energy, but a lot more than the previous month. I've managed to get some time with Rosie again, which is absolutely superb. You all know how much I love hobbying with her. I've had a couple of deliveries, which is cool. Yeah, all in all, it's just been a good week for getting a little bit done, but not lots. We're running towards Christmas. I've got a few deadlines by Christmas that I need to get done. The TCU challenge, painting Smaug. I'd really like to have that done by Christmas, but if I don't, I'll push for it for Rosie's birthday instead. So I'm not going to stress myself over that. I'm going to do it right rather than rush it. But yeah, it'd be nice to get that done. And I've been very slack with my painting this month, and the Buster month, I'm running out of time. I have started on it, but if I get that done by the end of next week, I'll be very surprised. Anyway, I really hope you enjoy the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I love every single comment I receive, and they make such a difference to me, so don't be shy, do say hello. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again at the end. So I just sat here painting away, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to turn the camera on a bit, because I'm sure most people think you can't paint Smaug without an airbrush. And as many viewers will know, I am not good at an airbrush. So I'm painting this without an airbrush, and I'm going to show you how that looks. So I'm using Vallejo flat red, and I'm watering it down a lot to get a good thin coverage. And what I'll then do is layer over the top of that with other colours. And I'm not going to film very much because, well, it's just me doing this a lot. But I did think I would talk through each colour as I use it and show each stage as it goes, just in case anyone out there is thinking about trying to paint with a brush. And we'll find out how terrible or how good it looks as we go. So there we are. This is Vallejo flat red, and as I say, just a relatively, this is an army painter brush, loading it up with lots of water before I go into the paint, and you can get really good coverage doing that, as you can see, without using much paint up. So it's akin to airbrushing, but obviously not quite the same. But yeah, I use a very watered down paint, and what I'm trying to do is avoid all the spikes, because they're going to be done in like a blacky grey charcoal, so I'm avoiding the spikes and the plates, but the whole thing's going to be done in this red. So I'll get that done, and I'll bring it back for the next stage when I get to it. Well, as you can see, I've got a little bit of a chopped up cocktail stick there. Basically, the glue isn't going to be strong enough to support it, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of a cocktail stick in underneath. You won't be able to see it, certainly not because this is the view. I'm going to be looking from this angle here, so you won't be able to see it when you're looking to the front, and that will just hold it secure. I've not even glued that in at the moment, so I'm going to go and paint that green or something like that, just so that it fits in with the rest of the backdrop, and then I'll put a little hole in here with the drill, and then that will support it up there. But I'm just using my scissors to do that snip, and I'm going to do the same thing for this one. This one's slightly more secure, but I still think it does need a little bit of of support. So just with my scissors, oh, that went flying across the room, but that's fine. And that can then slot in underneath as well, just as a bit of support, and that way it won't like keep sinking over time, which is basically what's going to happen, isn't it? And that's actually quite difficult to get in from this angle. So yeah, so that's that. I'm moving on nicely with this now. Next thing I'm going to do is the little fighters. So let me just prove that that's going to slot in there nicely. There we are. So that will just support it, and you won't be able to see that when you're looking at it from the front. It's absolutely fine. So the next thing is going to be these. And my thinking is to do something quite similar as I've done for the main ship. Coming out of these, they're actually, I'm storing them upside down, they actually go this way. But it might be quite nice to do a curved, so I'm going to do some wire. I'm going to do some wire from this one going down here and wire from this one going down here. I'll glue them in place, glue it in place there, and I'll also have it supported here, and that should then be enough. And I'll put little puffs on in the same way as I've done this, but a little bit smaller, and that'll look good. So that's going to be this one, and I will work through each one in order. So the first one I'm going to do is this one, and then I'll work out how the other two are going to look, and I'll bring you along when I get to that. Oh, this is working out really well. So I've drilled a little hole in the end of this engine and a little hole in the wood, and you can see I've got my bent little bit of wire there, which is holding that up with the help from the from this bit of foam. And I've got another bent bit of wire, and I've made a little mark here where I'm going to drill now. So I'll have 2 bits of wire coming in, which should be enough to support it. And that will be glued here and glued there, and then once that's dried, this should hold up, I hope. Now I have actually cut that a little bit long, as you can see, so I'm just going to trim that a little bit more. And what I'll then do, I'm making use of my little tack life drill, so I'll just move that out of the way. It's a superb bit of kit, this, really useful for these sorts of things. It's good for drilling into the into wood and also into the resin. So this will probably make a little bit of a nasty noise, but you can see that goes in really nicely. And then in the resin as well, very, very carefully, you can see that this and there we are. So now, with both those things done, I can now put my little bit of wire in here and slot both holes in there. So that will go in, hopefully, there it is, and that will go in. A little bit fiddly. There we are. And when that's dry, that will support that aeroplane, that fighter, zooming across like that, which is really, really cool. Very pleased with that. So I'm going to prime these with grey and then paint them with the orange. We're going to go with the orange again, so that they're not just silver. Though I suppose it could be silver. I might leave it actually. I might just glue that in and leave it without having anything extra. Not sure, I'll have a think about it. But the next thing I'm going to plot is how I'm going to do the ones at the front. So I'll get this glued in place. I'm going to glue it in place just with silver, leave it to set, and just use some PVA glue there again just to fill that in, and hopefully that will be solid enough. And then yeah, I'll bring you along for the next step, which will be the other two very shortly when I get to them. Oh, that's worked, that's glued in. Now I did actually have to go back to that yesterday, and I ended up using some super glue, which is, as you can see, holding it nicely. I'm very pleased with that. So I'm going to do the same kind of idea for the final two ships, which are over here at the front. So if I just rotate this slightly, you can see that we're going to have two ships here at the front. So I'll do the same sort of thing with a little bit of 2 bits of wire, and I might do this one kind of like coming in like that, so you can see the bottom of it a little bit better. And I'm not sure, maybe this one I'll just do kind of a little bit more upright, and I might even just be able to kind of stick it on like that without actually having to put any wire. So and I think that will give it a nice, quite a nice bit of movement and dynamism, and then we'll be done, thankfully. This is amazing, finally getting nearly done on this project. Been absolutely months it sat without being used, and I've finished off in a couple of days. It just goes to show. So yeah, so I'll get my drill out, drill the back of the engines out, put the wire in, super glue, leave it for a very long time, like hours and hours, to completely go off, and then that'll be done. So yeah, I'll bring you back when that's finished and we can have a look at the completed project. Yay! Well, would you look at that? It's done. And honestly, I'm really pleased with how that's turned out. I think the orange from the back of the actual dropship looks great. I think the 3 fighters zooming and swooping around look brilliant. and I think that you can kind of sell yourself that these transports are further away. It's not worked quite as well as I wanted, but yeah, pretty happy with that. So what I'm going to do is take the camera off of the tripod and do a little bit of a swoopy around it with the camera to show some of the different angles, and then I'll go and mount this on the floor, on the wall, which is where it needs to go. So yeah, very cool. So let's just go to shaky cam. So like I say, we have 3 fighters. Got one there. We have this one, which was the second one that I just did, which, as you can see, that worked really well. And I've got this one, which is kind of shooting up out of going directly upwards. And I think there's quite a few really interesting angles on this, which is always nice to have multiple angles to look at it from. Yeah, pretty happy with the paint job, happy with how it looks, and I'm looking forward to getting that mounted on the wall, and then I can smile whenever I walk past it. So that is now finished, and it took me long enough, took me well longer than it should have done, but hey, at least I finished it. Well, we did another session, and all I've got left to do is this around here by the wall, which unfortunately Rosie was just too little to reach. So I'm going to get this done, and then I've also got the front to do, which also she was just been too little, and we're going to have to stand it up on its head to get that done. But she did almost all of this. She was loving it. I'm very proud of her. So yeah, I'll just get that done, finish doing the sanding around here, and then the next clip on this with Rosie will be painting the black over the top, which I'm going to let her do as much of as possible. I might just do like around the edges of the walls so that we don't get more like this. Not that it really matters, but yeah, we'll be working together on this again very soon, I hope. So it's time to start filling. And you can see that I've finished doing the adjustments for that, which I'm very pleased about. I'm going to make use of Milliput, and each of these has some filling to be done. Now, some of this I'll just use the Mr. Putty because, yeah, and you can see that I actually primed this already without really doing a very good job of filling, so I'm going to fill that again. Some of these are bigger, so I will use a Milliput, and then I'll come along with the Mr. Putty afterwards just to finish off. But you can see that we've got drain holes in there. We've got drain holes in there, which is just crazy. I have no idea why I put drain holes in that one. Drain holes in there. And drain holes in there. So yeah, so I'm just going to fill these, sand them down, use the Mr. Putty, and then prime them. And I'll bring you back next time will be when I start to paint all of them, because I've got these and also quite a lot over there that don't need filling. So I'm just going to get the filling done and then start priming. So let's crack on with this. I had some deliveries today, which is always awesome. This one, you're going to have to wait to see until Rosie's here. She's gone to bed now, so maybe I'll show you that tomorrow. But this package here is very exciting. This is from Games Workshop and is my haul from their last made to order, and it is lots and lots of camels, and other people like camels. So we have Mahud Raiders. I did go a bit crazy on this. We have Mahud Warriors Warband and another Mahud Warriors Warband. So those are dismounts. We have more Mahud Raiders. More Raiders. Seriously, ridiculous quantity here. I went a bit nuts. More. And more, and more, and more, and here we have, yeah, and more even, and here we have 2 foot and mount Mahud Kings. Now, I do love my camel riders, and I will get these done. I've got lots already. This is going to really fill up my army. I'll probably have about 1,200 points of them for SBG. So I got 2 Mahud Kings, 10 packs of Raiders. I think there's 2 in each, maybe, can't remember, and 2 packs of the Warrior Warbands. As you could see, that's what I pulled out. So that is a very awesome delivery of expenditure. That wasn't a cheap do, but the last time they were made to order was when I ordered the last lot I had, and I just didn't order enough. I was silly. I thought I was being sensible and not overbuying, and then I was gutted because then they went out of stock, and it's been years since they've been in stock. So now the next order is also really cool. So this I got actually from a Bulgarian company, and I ordered it yesterday and it arrived today, which is just brilliant. Very nicely packed. Get that out of the way. And here we are. We have Call of Cthulhu books, and the reason for this is starting very soon, and this will be streamed, and I will make sure to shout about it if you're interested. Justin from Game On is running a campaign, and quite a few of us, including Miller, who did Miller's Marvellous Miniverse, and also Idaval Steelworks, and also his newest one, which is where he does dioramas of like crime scenes, which is an absolutely brilliant channel, and I need to put that on as a recommendation Monday, really. And also Quinn from Quinny's Budget Crafts, and a few other people, Kujo, Overboard DM. We're all going to be playing a campaign with Justin being the DM of it, and so because I don't have the books for Call of Cthulhu, I've played it once. I did a live stream a few years back with Justin and the same guys on Halloween, which is also streamed, which you can go and find on Game On if you're interested. I figured I'd pick up the rule books because it's always good to have the rule books when you're playing a game, because you can flick through them. I know that you can get them online, but I really like having the physicals. So what I'm going to do is take them out of their shrink wrapping and do the traditional sniff test. So let's get rid of this single-use plastic, which, as you know, I love so much. Okay, so let's see what the Call of Cthulhu Keeper rulebook is smelling like. That is a very, very nice new book smell. Yeah, very cool. And let's try the Investigator Handbook, which Justin said to get this, but I thought I'd get this. This is what it says. This is for players. This is for DMs. I wasn't sure. I presume this is maybe slightly better. I'm not sure. Different, but still good. So there we are. We have an awesome delivery day, and there's one other thing, like I say, but you're gonna have to wait to see that because that needs Rosie in the room for me to open it. Anyway, cool. So Rosie has just had the surprise, which was the thing I couldn't show you. You're gonna show the camera what you got? What have you got? Let's put this here. Look, you got a horse and a rider, and what else have you got in there? Lots. You got lots of figures, haven't you, to play with on your castle? Isn't that cool? So these are just soft plastic figures. We can paint them together at some point as well. So we've got archers, and you've got another archer there. No, you've got an axeman with a bit of a bendy axe. But yeah, pretty cool. Pretty happy with that. So you like them? Yeah. So we're going to go and play. They're going to go in the playroom now. And then when this is finished, they can be played with on your castle. So how about that? So that was the thing that I couldn't show you earlier because I wanted Rosie to see it first. Yay! Gonna wave to the camera. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Right, well, so as you can see, I've started to kind of like lay things out. I'm not sure I'm going to use these. I had the idea of putting these, of having these were part of a misprint. And I was going to put trees in them, so I might do that as planters. But anyway, so yeah, I've started to mock things out. Got the potential position for the track here. Thinking about the station to go along here, and then you go through, and this is going to be like the gate. So the gate would be the two brontosauruses. I think they're brontosauruses, and you walk in through them, and then the fence would kind of like go around like this, and then at the back we'll have various kind of paths leading you around these dinosaurs. So we have like this is the Parasaurolophus, Angela's favourite, will be coming out of a little lake. we have, again, Mosasaurus, I think, yeah, which is a fish, so that would also be next to the lake. So we'd have a little lake here with that, and then we've got the Oviraptor, which is teeny tiny Oviraptor. Can't even really see it. Lighting's really bad. I've got the lights on, but the lighting's really bad today. So that's an Oviraptor, which will be like running around, and that's the idea with there, is to give the range of scale of these dinosaurs. And we have various other ones, including Steg and Triceratops, some birds, T-Rex, a bunch of the raptors over this way. So you go from like the herbivores and some like more river or lake, and then round through to the carnivores. And that's the plan. So you can see I'm not necessarily going to make use of the whole of this base, and that makes me think that I might actually do this completely not on this base, but this has been really useful just to give you an idea of scale. So yeah, I have also just ordered a cricket cutter. I think I mentioned in a previous clip that I was going to. I have ordered it. It is on its way. Whether that arrives in time or not, I don't know. But I'm going to hold off on doing the station until that arrives. So that station might actually not get onto this build before the end of the year. However, relatively happy with how the filling's gone. There's a few little bad bits I might need to do a little bit more. I primed it anyway so I could see what it looked like. So maybe a little bit more filling to be done on this. Or I might just turn that round and have the entrance like that, so you go in underneath. That looks quite nice, doesn't it? Not sure. So I might need to do a little bit more filling. But I'm going to start doing some doing the painting of these. I'm currently researching heavily as to what colours they should be. Get them painted up, and then I can lay out the park. Now the only other thing to say is I'm going to be putting little like plaques next to each of the dinosaurs talking about them, but what I've decided to do is I'm actually going to print them out in full size as well. So this is going to be on the layout, and I will have all of the information on the dinosaurs in a little pack that will be next to this area in my layout. So I'm pretty happy with that little idea. But yeah, happy with how it's going on. It's coming towards the end of November now, so we've got about a month to go. So I better get cracking on the painting. The terrain, as always, will not take me very long. This is a very simple thing. It's going to have a basic. I'm probably not even going to use much modelling compound. I'll just lay down my texture and then pick out the paths and then flock, put some trees in, and it should be done. So it won't take me very long to do that. But anyway, that's a long talky section explaining my current thoughts. Happy with how it's coming along. Excited to get them all painted. So going to go and do that now. So several months back, the Paint All the Minis challenge was to paint a miniature that you've had for ages, and I started this and didn't finish it, and it's been so long that now we've gone all the way around the circle, and once again the challenge is to paint a mini you've had for ages but haven't finished. And I ignored it because I've been too busy, and also as I've said, I've not really been feeling very motivated. A bit of a bad patch. The challenge ends today. People have actually started posting their entries, and yeah, I've decided last night, I decided to give it a go to finish it. So I did a load of painting in it last night, and I'm now going to try and get the base done. So I'm going to take my glue out of its packet now, glue this down to the base. So I'll probably need to clamp, because I want to have that back flat, that flat and that flat, and have the front foot slightly raised. And then when that's dried, which will only take an hour or so, I'm going to come along and I'm going to do the rest of the base, and then I'm going to enter it, because that'll be done good enough for me. So yeah, it's been a while, but I'm going to finish it. So get this glued down and clamped, and I'll bring you back when I come to do the actual basing a bit later on. Well, that's glued on nicely now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some sand on the base. So I have my watered down PVA here with a little dash of washing up liquid or dish soap if you're American, to just keep it from going off, both in the pot and also after it's been used. I just do it. It helps as a little bit of a flow agent. So what I'm going to do is going to paint the bottom of this base. I'm going to paint this base all over with the glue. So I'll get that done. There we are. And now throw sand on it. There we are. Simple as that. And what I'll do is I'll just clean the edges a bit. Right, I'll let that dry, and hopefully that won't take very long, and I'll bring you back for the next step once that's dried. So it's time now for us, or rather for Rosie, to paint over the top of the sand. Now let me explain what happens with this, Roo. What we're doing here, so if you feel that, you can feel it's dry, but it's a little bit loose. Can you feel? Okay, if you rub your finger on it, you'll feel it moves a little bit. That means that when, over time, that will fall off, and that would be bad, because we'd get sand all over your playroom floor and Mummy would have shouted at us. So what we're doing here basically is by painting the black paint over the top, and you can do all of it, I'll just show you how you do it, just paint it nice and thin. Actually that's got a little bit, I need to put a little bit more water in that, so I'll dip some more water in that. But what we're going to do is going to paint all over all of the sand. Okay? So I'll just put a little bit more water in this, so that it's a little bit looser because it's just a bit thick at the moment.
But we need to put some sand on this.
No, we've done the sand. We're now sealing the sand.
Sealing?
So yeah, so making the sand stay. We don't want it to fall off, do we?
No.
No, so that's what we're doing now. So there we are. I've made that a little bit watery, mixing it up now so it's not too thick. Wait a second. I'm about to give it to you, don't worry. Patience, love one. Right, there you go. So paint all over it, but don't paint the walls if you can help it. So just, you can see how that goes over it, just spread it around, nice and thin. And yeah, just paint over all of the sand, and I'll put some music on while we're getting this done. There we are. So that's actually now dry enough for me to do the next stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of some tufts, some manual tufts with dead grass, and then tomorrow morning, which will give me time to finish this, just about, I will then paint over the PVA over all of the rest of it. So this is just putting some little bits of some little lumps of the Warworld Scenics Fast Tack glue, and then what I'll do is pull out some damage in it. This is because I'm rushing. Pull out some static grass and just drop it on. But I've pulled up the sand because I'm rushing, so I'm going to have to touch this up. But I do want to get the entry in time, so I'll fix that, and I'll bring you along when I come to fix it, don't worry. I'll fix that afterwards. I'm just going to put, just going to put a bit of this static grass in around, and then, like I say, I will fix the sand tomorrow. So there we are, and that I think is going to be enough. I don't want it to be too much of a complex base. I will let that dry, and then tomorrow we'll seal that all with some PVA glue. So there we are. So this is still soft in places, not all over, and the reason is, I thought I'd show you this, is because I hadn't mixed up my glue correctly. So in places it was actually just slightly coloured water I was putting on the base, which is clearly not going to work very well to stick down sand. So what I'm going to do now is attempt to recover this with more of the PVA, which I have now given a very good shake, which is a shame because I was going to come in with a different type of glue to finish this off, but this should work, and I might need to put some more sand on in a couple of places if it moves too much. And then what I'll do is I'll get a little eyedropper and I will seal the static grass, but I'll bring you along for that later. But this is where it's worst. Like I say, I might end up putting some more sand on, I'm not sure, but I'm going to seal this first layer anyway before I do anything else. It's true they say, what they say, more haste, less speed, and this proves it. Anyway, just thought I'd show that. I'm never keen to hide my mistakes, because if I make a mistake and can fix it, then you can learn. So I'm going to get the rest of this done. It's a bit difficult to do this and keep it in shot. Be easier if I could pick it up. But yeah, I'll get the rest of this done, let this dry, put it in the sun later, it'll dry quite quickly then, and I'll bring it back for the final step, which will be sealing in the static grass when I get to it a little bit later on. Still think I'm going to get this done in time. Really wanted to enter this to the Discord today. We shall see. But yeah, just gonna tie this all down now with some proper PVA and not the coloured water that I used before. Oops. Well, there we are. That was the week. As you see, I got a fair bit done. I managed to finish the dropship diorama, which I'm really pleased about. That was one thing that's been really dragging on me in terms of just taking too long to get over the line. So it's really good to do that. Now we need to get my Orbis diorama, that massive library, done. I have actually, just one second. I have today bought some sanding discs so I can get out to the lake and get that all like removed and sanded off. I haven't done anything since the video where I started, because actually that was the day I started to get sick, and I spent 2 weeks since then really being sick, and it's only this week. I mean, last week I had lost my voice. This week I'm finally getting back to not being unwell, so that's really, really good news. Actually, both me and Angela are not sick. And it's the first time since Rosie went to school that we've both been relatively healthy at the same time. So there we are. Anyway, I'm recording this a little bit early. Tomorrow I'm going to be taking some friends to the airport, so Sunday is totally out. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be driving when this is published. And I look forward to seeing you all next week, and we'll be back again next Sunday. As I always do at the moment, I wrap up these videos. I hope I can stop saying this soon. I hope that the horrible war is over soon, but it isn't yet. So if any of you are directly or indirectly impacted by the horrible war in Ukraine, then my thoughts go to you and anyone that you know who is. And to everyone, please do stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.